Today, we're going to be revisiting the Waza Craft Metal Zone and seeing if it still holds up. So I know what some of you are thinking, you've already demoed this pedal, why are you showing it again? And that's true, I did demo this pedal when it originally had released a number of years ago. I don't know exactly how long ago at this point, but I was definitely stoked for it. And I've been kind of wanting to revisit some pedals and different pieces of gear that I've demoed throughout the years. And mainly that's because I've grown as a musician, I've grown as a YouTuber, and I've definitely grown for how I do demos and things. It's not like I necessarily hate the demo I did for this or any old pedals that I kind of want to revisit and have a second look at. It's just that I have more gear now. I definitely have more knowledge now of what I'm doing. I've refined what I do here on the channel, and I just feel like these deserve a second look. So for anyone not familiar, the Waza Craft line from Boss are made in Japan, kind of nicer pedals. Usually they're going to be based on classic beloved Boss pedals. I've had I've had this, and I've had the Boss HM2 Waza Craft on the channel. I owned the Boss Waza Craft tuner for a while just because I had a nicer buffer on it. All the Waza Craft stuff has nicer buffers than what come on the original, and like I said, they're made in Japan. And they typically have extra features, usually a switch on them that goes to some sort of extra voicing. Just like on this one, you have that extra switch that goes from the standard, which is the metal zone we all know and love, to a custom mode, which that's voicing's been modernized and updated for the modern player. And that is such a good setting, and I feel like I didn't give enough love and attention to the custom mode when I originally demoed this, which was a big reason as to why I wanted to revisit this pedal. As I had mentioned originally, the Metal Zone is an iconic pedal, especially amongst high gain players. I know Bonamassa was recently talking about it, saying it was one of his favorites, or maybe his favorite dirt pedal, and I know everyone went nuts about that for a week or two because sensationalist pedal news will cause drama. But it's legitimately a good pedal. I know it has a reputation of sounding like a can of bees and being harsh. And I mean, when I first owned one, it was one of my first gain pedals. I didn't know how to dial it in, especially that mid-range, because for anyone that doesn't know, the Boss Metal Zone, of course, you have level, you have gain, you have bass, you have treble, and then you do have a mid-range control, but you also have a mid-range sweep. And it's a really, really big sweep that goes from super low mid-range all the way up to really high cutting mid-range. That way you can kind of tailor how much mid you're taking out or putting in and where you're doing it. So you can really tailor a sound, but also that makes it harder to dial in. And I think a lot of us learned as well that with the original Metal Zone, the best place to actually put it is typically not in front of an amp, but actually into the effects loop, so that this becomes its own preamp. I think the whole internet, a bunch of YouTubers and a bunch of guys on the internet all figured out at the same time, and that's where it sounded best. So that's where I really showed off the Waza Craft Metal Zone the first time around, and I'll definitely still show it as a preamp, but I wanted to show off that custom mode, because that custom mode makes this thing really, really well voiced as a distortion pedal, and honestly, it sounds so good as a distortion pedal. I picked up another one, and I'm not going to let it go this time. I'm going to definitely hang on to this Metal Zone, if just to have on the channel to compare to other stuff as like a good baseline. But that custom mode sounds so good hitting the clean channel of an amplifier. I was honestly shocked at how good it was, especially inside of a mix. I had just forgotten how good the thing was, to be completely honest. But I'm stoked to have one again. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of coming around a good time, because as some of you might know, I've shown it on the channel before, I have a metal pedal monster tattoo that's like a ram's head Big Muff holding an HM2 chainsaw with a tube screamer ray gun. I thought that was really cool, and I've been wanting to get another pedal related tattoo, and I thought I have to pay homage to the Metal Zone. I wanted to get a Metal Zone tattoo, and just like with the other tattoo I got, I wanted to kind of make it into some sort of creature. So I had my wife design a Metal Zone robot tattoo, like kind of an old golden era sci-fi robot. He's got like little patch cables for arms and everything. And I love how he came out. So it's just a good time all around to have this video now that I have this guy on my leg. So that's absolutely enough talking about, you know, why I'm doing this, what's going on with the Waza craft. We're going to hear this inside and outside of a mix. And inside and outside of a mix, we're going to hear it both as a distortion pedal on the custom mode and as a preamp on the original standard mode. So it's going to be going into the clean channel of my Friedman BE50 Deluxe, and that's going to be at the beginning of the in-mix portion. And then for the second half as a preamp, it's going to be going into my KSR PA50. And then both of those are going to be going into my Two Notes Captor X with a blend of a DV77 and VM1265 speakers for my IR. And of course, we'll have that for the same out of mix. And the guitar I'm playing is going to be my RIP, my Radical Instruments Star Destroyer. And the pickup I'm going to be using in the bridge with that is my Fishman Fluence Modern. Let's check it out. So I'm really happy I revisited this and like dove back into the custom mode, and that I just have one of these again on the channel. I would love again to have this to compare to other distortion pedals and preamps as kind of like a baseline. Like, yeah, this is cool. Wonder how it compares to a Metal Zone. I think that would be really interesting and beneficial to a customer if they're on the fence about buying something, if maybe they want to pick up a used Waza Metal Zone or even just a regular Metal Zone or new, if you want to get one brand new, or if you wanted to pick up something else if that wasn't really your vibe. I just think it's good to have that kind of baseline. Of course, it was great as a preamp. We already knew that. The whole internet has been talking about that for years now. But wow, is it awesome on that custom mode into my Friedman BE50 Deluxe. That was unexpectedly just so good. And I had forgotten how good that is. Something else I would also like to try in the future is I would love to have this like and play around with using it as a boost because it has that super powerful mid-range I was talking about, and seeing like if it would be good in, you know, standard or custom mode, because a lot of guys actually like using this with the gain like basically all the way off and using it as a boost. Cannibal Corpse most notably did that a lot in the 2000s into their dual and triple racks, including on, you know, like Kill, and I believe on Evisceration Plague, which is my favorite album of theirs. And I do have my Rev G dual rack now, so it could be a fun experiment in the future. But all in all, I'm just kind of rambling. I really liked revisiting this. I love my Metal Zone tattoo. I'm trying to think about what my next kind of gear-related monster tattoo is going to be, but super stoked with this guy and the ram's head. I called him Matthew because MT2W. My wife came up with that, and then the ram's head's name is Dan. But anyway, I'll have a link down below if you want to check out the Boss Metal Zone or the Waza Craft version for yourself. Thanks for watching. Stay metal.